Welcome back. We are here with 1433. As you can see, we currently have our family pretty much in the same state, but we are pregnant. Very excited about that. Johnny Zest, the junior, is now a teenager, and we have another child from Serena. All very exciting. Very happy about that. The Armstrongs have officially died out. Well, they won't until Gilbert dies, but he's got no boys, so there'll be that. And I am planning on having his only daughter that has not married yet, I believe. Let me see. Hold on. We're ignoring Emmeline. Okay. Her, yes. Yeah, so first daughter was married. She died. He was married but died and had two sons, or they both died. Yeah, so Sabina, yeah, she's dead. Yeah, Sabina, his last surviving single child, is going to probably be marrying the new lord. So that is what I'm thinking. Anyway, we have some roles to do. We had a lot of babies be born in the last part. So let's start with the infant roles. We have Raphael Payne and Dorothy Smith. They can't get an 18 or a 20. All good. Oh, no, not Dorothy. I just said she was born. Okay, well, Dorothy died. Then we have the toddlers, no 4, 8, or 12. We have Bard the second and Godiva. Bard, Godiva. All right. Then we have two teens. We have Jaquette and Frida, who I can't roll a 7. Okay, and then for their marriages, will Jaquette get married? She will and have 6 children. Frida will and have 8 children. Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. So, Jaquette and Frida, I believe that was their names. Did I get that mixed up, though? Yeah, Jaquette Bennett and Frida Axtell. Let's see. Who can you guys marry? So we're about to have Sabina get married, so she's all set. Okay. Let me put Sabina up here with her 6. And then Johnny Zest can get married. He could marry any of these poor women. Let's do... And... I don't think I want to have him marry Honora, though. Because Honora is going off to be a businesswoman and doing her thing. I don't think that she is going to get married anytime soon, if at all. So how about... I don't know. I guess Jaquette came first, right? I think that was Olive's daughter. So let's go like this. But they won't get married for 1, 2, 3. You know what? Let's just wait until they're young adults. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Johnny and Jaquette marry. Okay. If she survives. If he survives. If everyone survives. Okay, young adults. Bard Axtell and Bartholomew Payne. Bard, his wife just died. Can he survive for the children? No, 2, 6, 11, 13, 14. Yes, and yes. All right, and then Alexandra and Elric. Have to get a 9 or above. Alexandra, yes. Yes, oh my gosh, only 1 death. Good work, team. Good work. Okay, well, that's great. Yeah, if Jaquette dies, we'll have him just marry Frida then. Everything's fine. Anyway, that is that. Then we'll roll for our vampires. We have 2 vampires. I can't roll a 9. And we have one regular sim with our vampires. No 18 for him. He was fine. Okay, so everything is doing well. So let's hop into the game. Okay, so in the last one, we had Honora leave us. The kids are, I guess, going through a phase. And you know what? That makes sense because someone that was a constant in their life for so long is now gone. I'm sure she'll keep in touch. She does call a couple times, but it's a big transition for the children. So it only makes sense that they would be, having reactions to what is going on. And they're just kind of talking amongst themselves and, basically trying to figure out their emotions and all of that stuff. I mean, they're just kids, so they don't really understand a lot of, why adults do things. But they do understand that, Honora left on friendly terms and that, they're all grown up now or whatever, so that they don't need her. And they are just trying to figure all that out. And it's not easy for them to go through this transition. Also, we're pregnant. We are very, very pregnant, and it's very nice, and I love it so much. And we are going to potentially have another child in this part, so I'm really excited about that. And Thomas is still really figuring out, where he belongs in the family. He's going to go and do a competition. Also, a baby is being born, and the baby was not born successfully. So that is actually the last baby that Salvia can have with her current husband. She's a vampire, though, so she can always remarry later when her husband dies. And so there's that. They do still have the one child who is Wybert III, who is a vampire. And so Thomas is just really trying to figure out his place in the family now that he's back, and he's not the provider. He's not really the father. He is trying to reconnect with his children, reconnect with his wife, figure things out. But it is a hard transition, and that's why there are still some bumps in the road there. Him and Adelaide have had a few spats over it, so it's just not an easy transition. So anyway, they're all talking. He was just chatting with the children. The children are a little standoffish because part of them recognizes that he shows back up and then Honora leaves, right? So part of them kind of, blames him for that. And they don't really know him. So he needs to work pretty hard to get to know his children and to fill a spot in their lives that's more important than, anyone else that is not apparent to them. Anyway, so we're doing another date thing. Thomas and Adelaide are working on their relationship. They're trying to get to know each other again, or more specifically, Thomas is trying to get to know her again because he has been deceased this whole time and things changed. And I think that it is difficult for them. You can see that they're doing pretty well when they're on their dates, but as soon as I let them do whatever they want, he immediately is mean to her. And I don't know what's up with that. I always, imagined Thomas as this good guy who was a hard worker and was willing to do whatever it took to take care of his family. And yet he keeps being autonomously mean to his wife. So I don't know what that means in the scheme of who I think of Thomas as. And you know what? Maybe Thomas has changed too. Maybe his time as a ghost has changed him, and maybe it has made him a little more bitter towards the world for having to leave it so soon and missing so much of his children's lives. And probably part of him wonders if it was even a good thing to come back, if he should have just gone to the netherworld. So that is tough. He is again trying to talk to the kids. They are a little standoffish. I do have them do a couple of mean interactions, but they don't get it, and they don't really know him or feel that comfortable with him yet. It's been a little while now since he's been back, so they are starting to understand, but I think that it's just been a lot of change and a lot of turbulent stuff in their lives, so they are not adjusting well, especially Genevieve, who is a hothead. So she kind of just reacts first to things before thinking them out. So I don't know why Thomas Jr. is going through going through this phase. He's actually the third, but little Thomas is going through this phase, but he is also kind of uncomfortable, you know. And Nora helped him a lot with his homework and blah, blah, blah. And he's, you know, she did flashcards with him and they spent a lot of time together. And so now I'm just letting them autonomously talk, and they are talking nicely and confidently to each other, and everything is going pretty well. So that is good. So they are just enjoying all of that. And we are making our nectar. I just want to fill up the basement, and then I think we'll be mostly done with nectar making. Like, yeah, we'll, every time we need money and we sell something, we might make something new. But for now, we don't really need the money. So we might as well stock up on a lot of potential simoleons for the future. There's that. And he is just horse riding, even though we couldn't see him for a brief moment. Look at her belly. She's pregnant. So yes, we are going to send them on another date. They are also sad because Emmeline died. Or Emelina. Emelina. Oh my gosh, I forget now. Remember when I went through that whole thing where I didn't know, and now I forget. I think it's Emelina, I want to say. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, his sister died. So they are all feeling kind of sad. But anyway, we're going to go out now that the weather has gotten a little better. And then we are going to try and have them, again, do their best to reconnect. And really just try and figure things out. You know, they're kind of hoping that the baby helps with their relationship troubles. So there is that. And, you know, I don't want to make anyone out to be the bad guy in this situation. They are both really struggling with this transition, and that is totally normal. That's totally normal, and it's totally fair that they would be struggling with everything that's going on. And I think that, you know, obviously we've talked a lot from Thomas's point of view of things, but also from Adelaide's point of view, she has been doing everything herself for so long. I think it's hard for her to kind of give up some of that control now that Thomas is here. She just has kept doing everything that she was doing previously, and she hasn't really changed anything to kind of try and fit him back in either. So they just have like a real heart-to-heart during their dinner out, where they are just really kind of hashing things out and talking about how they feel and being really open and vulnerable with each other, and so that they can try and come to a better place for their family. Because, you know, obviously they both agreed to bring him back to life, and in that agreement they, you know, I don't really know how to explain it. But, like, you know, they both agreed for him to come back to life, and they both wanted that, and they both wanted to make that work and make their family whole again. So, you know, it's something that they're both invested in doing. So let's have him do some more stuff with this horse, and get the horse doing barrel racing and jumping and everything so that he can do more competitions. I think that that would be nice if he can definitely do more of the things that he enjoys. And also, he has been taking a more active role with the children, which is really great. And he's just, you know, filling in wherever he can. You know, he's doing the stuff he likes to do, but then he's also trying to help and not, like, let his ego get in the way of Adelaide kind of being the head of the household now. So yeah, there's that. I mean, when he last saw Adelaide, she was, you know, this young woman with an overprotective mother, and she needed that, like, nurturing and protecting. But now she's strong and independent, and she doesn't really need it as much. So, you know, they're both getting used to that. Anyway, so Wybert II, who we actually talked about earlier in this because his mom just had a baby, Thomas invited him over, and then of course Thomas, who's working on the WizKid aspiration, has been working on all of his homework and projects and stuff, so he totally left Wybert alone. And so Genevieve is like, oh hey, like we can play together, like let's hang out. So her and Wybert are actually like getting along really well, really easily. Maybe we have a future romance in store. He is actually a vampire too, if you didn't remember that. He is a vampire. But maybe Genevieve will become, you know, the vampire lady. Meanwhile, Gilbert has just called Thomas, or maybe sent a letter, right? There's no phones, and been like, hey, so you're alive again, and we haven't really talked about that, so maybe you could come over. So tomorrow we'll go over to the Armstrong estate and see what the deal is there. So, yeah, Gilbert is very confused, and he's probably talked to Serena about it, because him and Serena have been kind of mending their relationship a little bit, even though it was under false pretenses by Emil, but still they've been mending things a bit. So that is not that bad. Maybe he talked with her a bit about it, and you know, she encouraged him to also mend fences with Thomas in the same way that he's been mending fences with Serena, and especially since Gilbert is getting close to the end of his life. So yes, Gilbert is about to die with no male heirs, and his wife is going to outlive him, so there's that. We are definitely going to see what happens with the Armstrongs. I will tell you more about that at the end of this video. But anyway, we're going to go see Gilbert tomorrow. Let's woohoo, because we can. And you keep doing that stuff. I think we'll be able to get to an A in this part, and we will finish this aspiration with him. So that'll be really nice. A lot of the newer child aspirations from Growing Together we can't really do, because they involve things like tree houses and slumber parties and stuff that doesn't really happen during this time period. But that's okay. And it's also May Day, and also the baby is going to be born today, so there is a lot going on in this this day. So here we are. Why don't you go help Thomas with his project? That would be nice. So he's like trying to, you know, get to know his son and get closer to his son through his son's interests. And of course, then we turn around as soon as Thomas, the smaller, is out of his bear phase, then Genevieve goes immediately into a bear phase. So there's that. And the kids are off to school. I don't know. Oh, because it's May Day. But yes, the kids are off to school. And now we are going to head over to the Armstrong estate to see Gilbert, Ella, and Sabina, who are the only ones who still live there. Wow, Gilbert and Ella didn't have like a single living child. That's so sad. That is so sad. Okay, so let's talk to Gilbert. Let's say hello. I'm actually going to change this so that he doesn't die before I kill him. But anyway, so yeah, he's just going to talk to Gilbert and be like, oh, hey, Dad. So they are going to talk, and we're going to go inside and all that. And also it's May Day, so we're going to do our, singing. And anyway, so basically Thomas and Gilbert are kind of trying to reconnect with each other, and Gilbert, apologizes to Thomas about everything that has gone on, and he says that, he really regrets not being close to Cecilia when she passed, and, he's lost so many children, and Thomas is his only son. Like, keep that in mind. Thomas is this guy's only living son. So that's a big deal. And so they're just, I don't know what you two were about to do in this bedroom, but I'm sorry for interrupting. So basically Gilbert and Thomas are just talking about things and, trying to maybe mend their relationship a little bit. And Thomas is more open to this now than he would have been in the past before he died, because, he knows what it's like to lose everything and lose your family and, not be in contact with them anymore, not be close to them anymore. And so I think that after his death experience that he is a little more open to reconciliation with Gilbert. And also, like, Thomas now has a fear of death. Also, we're going into labor. Let's go home. But Thomas also has a fear of death now, and I think that part of him is afraid that he, did all this to come back and to be a part of his family anymore, and it's just not going to work, and he's going to just fade away again. And that's scary to him, that he could, after everything he's doing to try and be present for his family, that maybe it's not even going to amount to anything. So that's something he's afraid of. And probably Gilbert knows that the end of his life is coming. So Gilbert is also just, like feeling uncomfortable with his own mortality and probably asking Thomas some questions, like, what was it like? What was being a ghost like? Did you ever want to have your soul move on, et cetera, et cetera? So I'm sure that they talked about that too. Anyway, I didn't even have a baby's room because I wasn't anticipating us having any more children, but we did. So here we go. And we are here putting Thomas because he completed his aspiration. So there is that. Also, so wait, Thomas and Sabina are half siblings. Yeah, there's no other childhood thing we can do. Anyway, Thomas and Sabina are half siblings. So their children are cousins. Anyway, so we have Adelaide giving birth. Let's do it. Don't panic. Nobody panic. It's a boy. Let's roll. And our boy just died. Great. Well, after everything, that's a bummer. I think that this is not great because this family was already having some problems and now the baby died. Oh my gosh. Okay, so everybody's going to kind of, deal with that in their own way by going, like, Thomas is like immediately just going to take off on the horse and go for a ride and try and clear his head. Adelaide is going to go back to her workshop, and the kids are just like, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so everybody is dealing with this very sad event in their own way. I think that they were hoping that this was like their fresh start, and I think that they're both very disappointed and sad, and obviously grieving the loss of their child. So they are having a tough time. I really was, I don't know why, in my head it didn't really occur to me that the baby would die. I was like, oh yeah, we're having more babies, and that is just like so sad that they were doing their best and it just didn't really work out. So that's too bad. We did not successfully have a baby. They're not going to woohoo again for the rest of this year. We are actually on the last day of the year, so we're going to probably head out soon. And we are going to then just finish this up. We'll do the chores, and then we'll head out so we can go and see Sabina again, even though we just saw her. But we're going to go see her again, and I will talk about what is going on in her life and their life. So let's just finish this really quickly. And then when we head out, it is also the lottery, so I just did that quickly. But yeah, I'm just filling up all these things now. They're not by year anymore because we made so much money we don't even need to worry about it. Okay, so Sabina, what is happening is what I did was I made a new sim. I just let the game randomize him, and then I also randomize his traits. So his traits are actually active, which I think is fine due to the probability that he was at war. And then romantic, which is great for him and Sabina. And then kleptomaniac. So he is kind of a thief too. So I thought that was interesting. And I thought about how I could make a storyline around that. And so what I have decided is this guy is he's an average soldier, but he likes to take the accomplishments of others. So he was always kind of like riding everyone's coattails, but then would step forward and take all the credit, So he is, that's the kind of person he is. So he has taken a lot of credit for a lot of things and has gotten a lot of awards and stuff, from the crown for his service. And because of that, he was kind of given a little more leeway due to that. And he knew Gilbert II. He knew Gilbert II, and they didn't really get along, actually. They didn't really know each other that well, and Gilbert was kind of on to like how this guy operated. So basically he's going to say, oh, well, Gilbert and I were good friends. I'm so sad that he died while we were away. He saved my life on more than one occasion. He's kind of like a con man, right? So he's like, oh, Gilbert and I were so close, and I promised him I would take care of his family. So he basically, asked the king in response to all his accomplishments if he could become a lord and marry Sabina to legitimize and make noble his future lineage. So because of all of that, it was granted. So Sabina is going to be the lady of the area, but Cassian is basically someone who has fibbed his way into the position. So I thought that was a fun storyline. That could definitely be good. And I just let the game randomize everything for me. I'm not good at making Sims. So there he is. I think he looks pretty good. And they are now going to be married. So they're going to be married, and we'll see how things go for them. So the new red family is the Heathcliff family. And they are going to be interesting. I think that it will definitely be interesting to see how he operates as a lord of this land. So that will be that. Anyway, so we are now just going to quickly marry them and then call it good. There were a couple more babies that were born in this time. So we had a land grab daughter be born successfully. We had Serena have her first son, so Emil II Smith, and then we had Payne twins that were both girls, but one of them did not survive. So we'll be rolling for their infant roles in the next part. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm excited to introduce a new level of complication with a lord of the area that may not be as honorable as the rest of the Armstrongs have been. So I hope that you guys are excited, and I will catch you in the next one.